The commission. The job was listed as a simple tracking commission. Garron had read it once. He was not a man who needed to read things twice. Marin, the guild receptionist, was watching him from behind her ledger with an expression he didn't like.
"I work alone,"
he said.
Not today.
She slid a paper across the counter with 3 names.
Festival crowd. You need eyes.
He looked at the names, then at the low-rank adventurers filling the common room, and back at Marin.
"These 3,"
he said.
They're available.
She returned to her ledger.
And cheap.
Garron had once tracked a wanted man through 3 miles of dark marshland using nothing but boot prints and patience. He carried a longbow, a knife at his left hip, and 2 short blades across the small of his back. He had never once needed help. He told Marin this. She didn't look up.
Good luck.
Seris was already spinning her spear when he found her, checking the balance the way other people checked the weather. Kett sat beside her, with his hands folded in his lap, looking innocent until you noticed his eyes measuring the distance between everyone's coin purse and hand. Jory arrived 3 minutes late, carrying a cup of some unknown liquid. Garron stated the rules clearly, then stated them a second time.
"Act natural. Draw no attention. Do not engage the target."
Jory raised his cup in a toast.
"I am extraordinarily boring."
Garron checked his quiver. 15 arrows. He would not need them. This was a tracking job. He told himself this while looking at the 3 people who were absolutely going to ruin it. The Thornfield Trade Festival ran 3 blocks in every direction, loud as a battlefield and twice as chaotic. Garron moved through the colour and crowd like smoke, hood low, eyes sorting the crowd. The target was a courier, paid to pass something to someone. He had 20 minutes before the exchange. Seris lasted 11. He heard the clash of metal before he turned. A local swordmaster had set up a challenge booth, and Seris had stopped in front of it. A crowd of 40 people had formed a ring while she stood inside, her spear levelled at a man 2 heads taller than her. He was laughing. She was not, looking like someone who would sooner lose her hand than the challenge. Garron kept moving. 5 minutes later, a herald's horn shrieked from the city steps. He turned to see Kett running. Behind him, red-faced and shouting, was the mayor of Thornfield, minus his coin purse, his signet ring, and, somehow, 1 shoe. Kett had the expression of a boy who had genuinely not intended this exact outcome, his pockets bulging in ways they hadn't before. He vanished into a knot of merchants as the city guards sent after him began arguing over jurisdiction. Garron breathed out and kept walking. Then the singing started. Jory stood on a barrel outside a tavern, an unconscious dwarf at his feet, and 3 empty bottles arranged around him like trophies. He had won a drinking contest, and the magic carrying him through it leaked from his palms in a soft golden glow. The crowd watching him was enormous. Garron closed his eyes for 3 full seconds. When he opened them, the courier was gone, and something pressed cold against the back of his neck.
You turned him in.
The voice was young and controlled.
Aldrich Vane, my master. You handed him to the crown in chains.
Garron went still. The blade didn't waver. A young woman in a dark coat stepped around to face him, keeping an exact, trained distance. She held a narrow blade in her right hand and a second in her left. Her eyes held no heat, which was the worst part.
I have been 3 steps behind you for 6 months,
she said.
Your party made the last stretch easy. Hard to watch a ranger when the city is on fire.
She lunged. She was faster and better in close quarters. The first slash he caught across his bracer, the leather saving his wrist. The second opened his left forearm where the bracer ended. Burning, but not deep, the wound caused him to lose his footing against a market stall, bringing it crashing down. She was inside his reach before he could draw either short blade, and his bow was useless. He went down on 1 knee as the narrow blade touched his throat. She had waited 6 months. She could wait 1 more breath. Then a spear shaft cracked across her shoulder blades. Seris hadn't had the angle for the point, so she threw it flat and hard without hesitation. It knocked the assassin 1 step forward, giving Garron room to wrench his throat clear and put 3 feet between them. Seris scooped her spear from the cobblestones without breaking stride and stepped in level, forcing the assassin to turn. They circled once. The festival crowd began peeling back, sensing real danger. Then the assassin moved. She was devastating. Seris caught the first slash on her spear shaft and angled it wide, but the second attack came low, and the third pushed her back 2 full steps. She was fighting to survive, resetting her feet and keeping the spear between them. Another exchange opened a thin line along Seris's upper arm, a message, not a serious wound. Kett, perched on an abandoned merchant's cart at the edge of the square, took one look at the situation, grabbed a fistful of peppercorns from a split sack, and threw them directly into the assassin's face. She recoiled, blinding her long enough for Seris to hit her across the forearm with the flat of the spear. The assassin reset fast, jaw tight, 3 seconds and a measure of composure gone. Kett grabbed a second fistful, but the assassin pivoted, keeping Seris between them.
"Stop throwing condiments,"
Seris said, without looking at him.
It worked the first time.
"It barely worked."
Define barely.
Then Jory raised both hands, muttering a low spell, and a translucent duplicate of Seris shimmered into existence. Her feet weren't quite touching the ground, but she was real enough to make the assassin hesitate. Jory squinted at his work.
Did that spell take hold? Or am I seeing double?
"It's the spell,"
Seris said. The assassin chose the real one by instinct. She drove forward. The duplicate drifted uselessly aside, and Seris gave ground again, barely catching the blade on her shaft. Suddenly, 8 city guards arrived, led by the furious, one-shoed mare. Kett went very still, looking at the guards, the mare, and the signet ring in his pocket. He straightened up, stepped out from behind the cart, and cupped his hands.
Uh-oh.
He held up the signet ring so it caught the light and bolted at a full sprint. All 8 guards and the mare chased him east through the market stalls, taking the chaos away from the square. The assassin did the arithmetic. No guards, a drunk wizard, the thief gone, but a fierce fighter in front of her and a ranger with arrows behind. She couldn't survive the full count. Her arm snapped back, launching a dagger straight at Garron's throat. Garron stepped into the spin. The steel hissed past his ear, and his right hand closed around the handle as it passed. He kept turning, weight flowing forward, and threw it back at twice the speed. She twisted in time, almost. The blade grazed her cheek beneath the left eye, leaving a thin red line. She stopped, touching 2 fingers to the cut, looking at the blood on her fingertips. Her expression turned inward. She came at Seris again, but her first step fell a half-beat late, and her blade arm drifted low. Seris felt the change in pressure and leaned into it, driving forward. The assassin's attacks lost their follow-through, her hands falling out of time. Seris drove the butt of her spear into the assassin's sternum and put her on the ground. The assassin made it to one knee and stopped. She looked at the blood on her fingertips, then at Garron.
"The dagger."
She said, but had nothing left to say. She went down slowly, collapsing as if her foundation had given way. The poison was her own. She had spent 6 months planning for a ranger who worked alone. No one had told her about the others. Seris stood over her, breathing hard, and lowered the spear. The city guard arrived later, after Kett had returned most of the mare's belongings. Seris pressed cloth against Garron's forearm without gentleness. Jory sat against a wall, with his hands dim, fast asleep. The assassin sat bound across the square, watching Garron without expression. He didn't explain himself, or say Aldrich Vane's name out loud. Some debts don't fit into words. He looked at his party instead. Seris had a split lip, Kett had a bruise rising above one eye, and Jory was sound asleep.
Next time,
Garron said.
follow the instructions.
Seris responded with a sly grin. Around them, the festival moved on, loud, ordinary, and completely unconcerned. None of them got up for a while. This has been a chapter from the Negsbane Iron series. Follow at Negsbane for more.